Hey everyone. I'm treading this topic really sensitively today because I know that there's nothing worse than the shame and the embarrassment and the isolation that we can sometimes experience around having mismatched sex drives in our marriage. I know, however, that no matter where you fall on this spectrum, really understanding the feminine art of sensuality will benefit you. It will be a game changer for you. So today, what I'm going to talk about in this training is what is the feminine art of sensuality? How is it uniquely yours? And how will it benefit your relationship? Because really we have misunderstood what true sensuality is. I think we've got it all wrong. I'm Melissa Keenan. I'm CEO and owner at Coaching with Melissa Keenan, where I help women and couples to find and create the intimacy of their dreams. And it's such a thrill and such an honor to have this calling at this time in my life, to be this vessel. So you guys, if you really want to step in, if you really want to own and reclaim true sensuality, then I want you to put true sensuality in the comments. True sensuality. There is no shame in seeking for something deeper than the cheap stuff we've been fed our whole lives about what sensuality means. In fact, it's divine, it's glorious. And I think it's calling to more and more of us to push past the stereotypes, push past the messages from media, the messages that we got or didn't even receive at all from our parents. There's so many pieces wrapped up in this. It's so much bigger than just what you experience with your partner. But I want to help you unravel this today. So again, put in the comments where you're watching from. If you're here, say hello. Let's just claim that we are glorious. We are radiant women who want the true sensuality. And we're going to claim it. We're going to claim it now. And you can do that by typing true sensuality in the comments. Okay. So I want to just lead out the door real vulnerable with you. I know what it's like to be on both sides. I know what it's like to be the high drive partner. And I know what it's like to be the low drive partner. And I've done all of that within the same marriage. Which, the more that I've talked to women, the more I found that that's actually not super uncommon, right? So I want to just lead out really, really authentic and vulnerable with you guys. Let me adjust my little screen here, my notes. When I think about the high drive partner as a woman and what it feels like to be the high drive partner, I just know that there's nothing worse than going to your partner and feeling free and excited and playful and energized, and then have them say no, or have them show zero sign of reciprocating those sentiments. This is not a good feeling, is it? It can often send us into such intense feelings. And this is like, you're super normal if you've had this experience. And if it's shut you down, like, that's what happens. That's very human and normal for us to experience these things. You're not alone. You're not bad. And it hurts. We go through all kinds of things in our minds. What's wrong with me? I'm bad. Why doesn't he want me? What's wrong with him? We go through all of that stuff, right? And on the other hand, I can attest to, because I have been both, what it feels like to be the low drive partner and walk around almost on edge because you're worried about the next time that he's going to initiate and the painful or uncomfortable conversation that's going to have to follow when you tell him that you don't want to again. Or worse, what was worse even for me, and as I worked with clients, when you're in that situation and you just do it anyway. You just succumb and do it anyway because you want to keep him happy, because you want to keep the peace, and it hurts. It hurts us. It damages us. And I know what that feels like. I know what all these sides feel like from a personal level. And I've worked with clients, obviously, in many of these different scenarios. So you guys, I get this. And I feel like people are not out there talking about this enough. And that's why I'm willing to just show up and talk about this. Because actually the shame is not real. It's not true. So what happens when we really don't understand the true feminine art of sensuality? When we haven't been able to break past those layers, we get so caught up and so disconnected from who we really are. We start believing all this ball of lies about who we really are. I mean, how many nights do we sit staring at our phones with our backs toward each other, feeling that isolation, being in the same room, being in the same bed, and feeling that isolation? And I think that there's freedom from this that can be found, that's within your grasp. Even if you're the high drive partner and your husband has erectile dysfunction, like it seems like a hopeless situation, right? Even if you're the low drive partner and it seems like no matter what you do, you're just not in the mood like you used to be. Or maybe you never were. Even if you've experienced sexual trauma in your childhood or in your past, there is hope and healing. And I've seen it time and time again in my clients. But what happens when we really don't understand this true nature of sensuality? We get bogged down by these stereotypes. Things that we may not even realize are affecting us. So let's speak to some of those stereotypes. Let's just call them out right now. And this is one of your keys. At the end of this, I'm going to give you 4 keys to the feminine art of sensuality. This is one of your keys, is get mad about the stereotypes and let's start to break them down. Okay? So stereotypes that shroud these topics. Stereotypically, and you guys, again, I called this out a little bit at the beginning. I can see that there's a couple more people here watching. I know this is a sensitive topic, but you guys, stand for yourselves. Type true sensuality in the comments if you're here and you're watching and you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna continue to believe these lies. I know who I am. I know my sensuality is divine, given to me by God when I was made and formed in the womb. There's no shame for this, you guys. Okay, so stereotypes. Stereotypically, men are always supposed to want it. I mean, we see that in every movie, every TV sitcom. The men are always supposed to want it. I mean, even, you go to a bridal shower or a baby shower, and it's like men are synonymous with horny dogs and all this stuff, right? What would that do to a woman who is the higher drive partner? It makes her feel like, what the hell is wrong with me then? Because I want it more than him. And then again, what the heck is wrong with him? Why doesn't he want me? Wait a second. Is it me? Is it him? Is there something nefarious going on here? Is he cheating on me? We start to go to these crazy places. Guess what? The stereotype is not true. It's not the case. In fact, as I'm out there, I'm on the front lines always, out in Facebook groups, researching. I've heard from hundreds upon hundreds of women now in situations around this conversation. I think it's 50-50. In my research, it's 50-50. If Facebook happens to be a good poll of people, it's 50-50, you guys. Some people, the husband's the higher drive. Some people, the wife is the higher drive. And the stereotype is just not true. It's just not. But yet it still affects us, right? It still affects us. Also, when we have that stereotype and you're a low drive partner, here's how it can also set you up for failure. Before your husband has even made a move, you're questioning his motives because he's just like a dog and he just really wants you for your body. And does he even really value you as a person? He didn't appreciate when you did this and this and this. So does he actually value you, or does he just want you for sex because that's what men do? Men just want sex. Do you see how this sets us up for failure? Right out the door, it sets us up for failure. Kind of an interesting, little bit of a side tangent, but super related. My husband and I were talking about this week is this phrase when we say you're being a dick. You're being a dick. And, for one, I've never heard a woman say that to another woman. It's kind of interesting, right? Have you? But for two, what does that mean? It means you're aggressive. You take without giving anything in return. You're selfish. You're rude. You're arrogant. And we are referring to a male penis. So can you see, for a low drive partner, can you see how the stereotypes, how some of this crap that's woven into our society and our culture is actually setting us up right away to be guarded, closed? I mean, if that's what a dick is, I don't want anything to do with it. Am I right, you guys? Okay, these are the things that are affecting us on a regular basis, so much more than we realize. These stereotypes, it's all crap. We gotta break down these stereotypes. Another stereotype that I've found a lot actually here in Women Helping Women. If you haven't seen my comments, I've done a lot of engagement posts and stuff leading up to this live. Very interesting stuff that comes out of these. So often what I hear is people will say you need to find the partner with the best sexual, what's the phrase they say, alignment, like because we live in a day and age where it's really common to just start having sex pretty young in high school or whatever, that the idea is you're supposed to shop for your sexual partner and find compatible. That's what I was looking for. Find the person who's sexually compatible and then try and build a relationship from that. That is so confusing to me. And I would guess, and what I've heard from people is that it's confusing when you're in that. It's confusing, am I right? But not only that, it is completely ridiculous. Because what that sets us up for, when we believe we have to find the person we're sexually compatible with, and that we can only be with the person we're sexually compatible with, what happens when you're in a committed relationship and someone gets a disability? Someone gets depression. Someone becomes paralyzed from the waist down. Someone ends up with diabetes and erectile dysfunction. It does not make sense, you guys, for us to think that we're always going to have this sexual compatibility, right? Am I right? So when you're hearing these statements like, just leave him, whatever, if he won't give you what you want, just leave. Or, if he wants sex more than you do, just forget it. Like, find somebody who matches your sex drive. This is delirious. It does not match real life unless you're really, really convicted to the whole idea of like platonic. Is that the word? Maybe that's not even the word. The relationships where, you know, you're not going to ever get married and you just keep shopping around for more relationships. But again, I find that creates a lot of confusion for people. So can you see how these stereotypes suck? They are not supporting us. They are not helping us. Here's some little comments in here. I realize, you guys, this is sensitive stuff and you don't want to be like outing yourself for sitting here watching this live, but I am telling you, there is no shame in seeking out true sensuality and seeking out a deeper intimacy than what you're experiencing right now. It is glorious. It is wonderful. It is God-given. And we should all be doing this. We should all be actively doing this because it's so fulfilling. It's such an important part of our lives, isn't it? Okay. So breaking down the stereotypes, you guys, the thing is when we really, why do we really need to pursue this? Why do we need to heal this? It's destroying marriages, for one. I mean, I hear that all the time. People will leave each other over this kind of thing. It's destroying marriages. It's destroying relationships. But it's also shutting you down. When you are closed off sexually, either due to shame, whether you're a high drive partner or a low drive partner, you know, you don't want to ask for it as a high drive partner anymore because you don't like the rejection. You don't like the pain that you experience when your partner's not on board with you. Or you're the low drive partner and you're totally shut off. And you don't have the sex drive and you're not really connected to that part of yourself. It will affect how you show up in the rest of your life. It shows up in your creativity. It shows up in your ability to be open-hearted. And more than anything, I think it really affects our, like when we are experiencing this sense of, you know, feeling shut down or closed off, it affects who we really are. It affects our ability to just be in our power, be in our truth, be connected to our truth, our source of who we really are, our inner wisdom. All of that. And why would that be? You know, I mean, to me, that again is God-given. It's divine that we have this beautiful sex drive, especially as women. Have you ever thought about this? Women are we are the ones with a pleasure organ. We have a clitoris. It's a pleasure organ. That's what it was made for. That's what it was designed for, is pleasure. Like, it's kind of like a cat that has a purr, right? Like, why do they have the purr? Just to let others know that they're enjoying it. The purr. Isn't that fascinating? So, I mean, why do we have a clitoris? It's amazing. It's so cool. So we were given that. We were formed and made with a clitoris in the womb. It's a part of who we are. So being connected to this, being open and being in our pleasure and pursuing our pleasure, it stands to reason that it is all good. It's something we're supposed to do. You know, and I could go down a whole nother spiel about religion and the different, and I'm very religious actually, but the different ways that, you know, there have been stereotypes and seeds sown in there as well that have kept us disconnected from the truth of who we are, feeling shame about either being the low drive partner or the high drive partner. This doesn't have to be. This doesn't have to affect you like this anymore. So you guys, I want to give you the 4 keys to the feminine art of sensuality. And if you're here and you're with me, type 4 keys in the comments. I would love to see you claiming, yeah, you know what? My sensuality is mine. It is God-given. And it's great. If you're excited to hear what these 4 keys are, type 4 keys in the comments. Okay. So key number 1, we've referred to this a little bit already. Key number 1 is break free from these stereotypes. And the number 1 thing I would tell you to do is take an hour. Sit down with your journal or with a pen and paper. Write down every crap belief that you have acquired from every source that you can think of. From parents, from religious upbringing, from media, from songs, from movies, from TV shows, from past boyfriends, from girlfriends in high school, all of that. Write down every belief you can think of and then rewrite it. Write a new belief. Define for yourself what your sensuality really is. And this work is so key. There's one really cool tool. Just looking here, do I have it to show you? I usually have it right here by my, it doesn't look like I have it near my stuff, near my desk right now, but it's called 30 Days of Sex Talks for Kids. And I bought it for my kids because I want to, feel like we need to be pioneers, right, in the way we teach our kids about this stuff. And but I recommend this book even if you don't have kids. There's actually 4 books in the set. And what my husband and I did was we read these books ourselves first. They're so cool, little tiny conversations about all these principles about our body and sex and sensuality. And then we faced our own stuff first. We had to like reteach ourselves what true sensuality meant. And then we would go and have the little like 1-page conversation with our kid. And so that's another great tool that you can use. 30 Days of Sex Talks for Kids. But otherwise, just write them down. And then the other piece to this stereotype is get mad. Because that's a righteous anger. These are lies that have been, sourced all around. So get mad about the stereotypes, okay? Key number 2. True sensuality it's about our senses. Did you know that? True sensuality is about our senses. In fact, if you just Google right now the definition of sensuality, it says something like experiencing pleasure through your senses. And so the key here is get into your body. Just get into your body. Okay, so whether this means, here's what I'm saying. This is particularly useful for a low drive partner. Notice the feeling of the slippers that you wear in the morning on your feet. Notice the smell of the flowers. Notice the sensation of the wind on your skin. Get into your body. But this can also be helpful for a high drive partner because where we have a lot of this pent up sexual energy, we can experience that. We can actually take that sexual energy, spread it throughout our body on an energetic level and experience it with heightened senses in other ways, right? That is yours. I'm teaching you your true sensuality. Are there pieces that we can work on with your partner? Absolutely there are. But your true sensuality, it is your gift. It is your creativity. It is your goddess energy. It is like a cloak of divinity that you can wear and experience all over your whole body. Okay, so the second key is get into your body. Get into your senses. Taste your food, all of that kind of stuff, okay? Is this resonating, you guys? I would love to hear in the comments. Like, does this make sense? Sensuality is actually about pleasure in the senses, okay? Key number 3, it is uniquely yours. We are talking about your sensuality. It is uniquely yours. It is aside and apart from your partner. And whether that means, that you embrace the concept of masturbation or not, it doesn't really matter. That can be one strategy or not. But it's defining for yourself that you were not given sensuality to please another person. You weren't. You were given it because it is the pulse of the universe. It is everything. It is the energy everywhere. And even, even the birds, even the flowers, everything around us exudes a sensuality, an erotic energy. And so your sensuality is yours. And if you don't take the time to really define, and this is especially for a low drive partner, to define what your sensuality means for you, you'll never really have a sense of connection to your partner. You just won't. And for the high drive partner, goes the same for your partner, right? Their sensuality is theirs. And likely for your partner, there's a lot of stereotypes and things affecting them on their side. So, man, there is some layers to that. So that's what I want to share last of all. The fourth key is I want you to schedule a call with me. If really pursuing and healing this is something that you want to do, get on the phone with me. Let's talk about what you're uniquely experiencing, because the fourth key is going to be so individual to what you're experiencing. I know it can be embarrassing to talk about this stuff. I know for some people, I have one client right now who said, I really am 40 something years old. She's 40 something years old. And she's like, I really never had the opportunity to talk to anybody about this stuff. Just hasn't. Just expected to know it. Just expected to go through life and never really owning or understanding her true sensuality, right? So what I want to say about that is there are so many layers to this when it comes to your partner. I could go down a million different rabbit holes with this. For one, duty sex is probably killing any spark of sex drive you have as a low drive partner. If you are having sex because you just want to keep your husband happy, that is probably really, really doing some damage to your soul. It just is. It's just the way it is. And if you need some support in understanding what to do next with that, again, this is your time to book a call with me. How to do that, I want you to private message me. Just let me know. Or you can certainly type call in the comments. But if you're like, I don't want to just type call in the comments, I get it. Just private message me and say I watched your live today. Something else about how this is so unique to you and to your marriage and your partnership, right, is a lot of times if you're the high drive partner and your husband is the low drive partner, there are layers of walls that have to be worked through in order to create the intimacy that you want with your partner. Because men have been told their whole lives that they're supposed to be like dogs. They're supposed to have this crazy high sex drive. They've been told the same things their whole life. And so that damage is done. Right? It is there. It is ingrained. And there are walls and layers there that we have to work through. And likely we as wives have contributed to those layers of shame, coming in with things like, well, what about Viagra? Well, what about, oh my gosh, have you ever watched those commercials and thought about what kind of message they're sending to men? It is a message of shame. It's so intense. Gosh, I remember when I first really started understanding how the stereotypes affects us and watching those commercials, I was like, this is devastating. No wonder why these men feel like, so very often men will be like, I'm asexual, forget it. Just forget it altogether. And I stand to say that's probably not always the case. It's just they don't know that they can work through this pain and shame in order to get to the other side, in order to actually create intimacy. Even with erectile dysfunction, I have worked with clients where their husbands have erectile dysfunction and they have created a beautiful intimacy that they can share together. And it doesn't involve direct intercourse, obviously, because he's got erectile dysfunction, but it's fulfilling and rich and connecting for both of them. So you guys, I am here to tell you, I am a stand that anything can be healed. Anything is possible. And your sensuality is yours. I work with a high-level client. I work with someone who is not willing to settle for less, or who is no longer willing to settle for less in any area of her life. I work with women who are, really convicted and committed to living from their center, from their truth, from their divinity, from their true identity in everything that they do. And so they want to break through these things. They want to break through. They don't want to feel held back or small in any area of their life. And if that resonates with you and that's you, then again, type call in the comments or private message me and say, hey, I watched your live today. And we will have a conversation. Because this is what you're born for. None of us were put here to experience this intense shame and isolation and disconnection in our relationships around sex. And especially around our bodies, this sensuality. Sensuality is not what we have been taught. No matter who you are, no matter where you've come from, no matter what shape or size you are, your sensuality is there. It's beautiful, and I can help you tap into it. Alrighty, thanks guys. Bye-bye.